Sour day. Oh yeah.
Little Natty Anton again.
All them years of my life that I play in mass. Oh, I never see this.
All right, good night, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to season 2 of the Creative Collective Podcast. Happy 2021 to everybody right now that's joining us on Facebook, if you're joining us on Twitch, and of course, if you're joining us on YouTube. Welcome to the Creative Collective Podcast. I am yours truly, Shomari KRL, logging in from Trinidad and Tobago. And once again, 2021, we are finally here. We've just escaped one of the most challenging years in a generation. And I'm really, really glad and happy that we started the Creative Collective Podcast from before. And of course, we're broadcasting all across the world right now. If you know some of your friends who have not logged in as yet, make sure and message them, tell them that we are ready to start inside the podcast. I know some people logging during the conversation. So even though we're seeing the numbers right now, I know it's going to rise during the course of the night. All right. For anybody new to the podcast, just to let you know what this podcast is about, the Creative Collective is a series dedicated to conversations with celebrities, personalities, and creative industry professionals. And it is our intention that from the information that we learn here, it can help to boost people who may need that motivation, may need to understand what it's like to be in the mind of that person, and also gain a greater understanding for themselves in terms of what it means to be involved in the business that you're trying to get into. During the course of the night, we're going to be taking some questions. So if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, you're on Twitch, you can send us those questions in your comment section, and we'll make sure to get to it during the course of the night. Also want to shout out A3 Labs for this brand new t-shirt here, which is the COVID Carnival 2021 checklist. I'll make sure and pop the jersey better on during the course of the live. And of course, remember, tonight, we're talking about the industry. We have a lot of things to get into, and I don't want to keep my guests waiting any longer, even though I want to let some people join the live. So I'm going to make one more call, message the people, let them know we are live right now on the podcast. And all the questions, we're going to take some questions tonight. We'll just go to the comments questions quickly. I see Soca and Champagne is here out of the US. Miles, Zindini from St. Vincent and Delroy locked on right now in Miami. So we're seeing all the people that's locked on. Make sure and message your friends, tell them, because we're going to get into it now. And I think now is about the time when we really shouldn't keep my guest waiting, because my guest was on time, right? He was sitting down in the back, and he was waiting to join us today. He was so gracious that Second Star right now is having a live to kind of discuss everything coming out from Second Sunday. But he decided to stick with us tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, inside the Creative Collective Podcast tonight, singer, songwriter, 3-time Soca Monarch winner, Aaron St. Louis, a.k.a. the man called Voice. My brother, what's going on?
Blessings while you're school, you know. Just grateful to be.
Go ahead.
No, I just say grateful to be here, grateful to be in 2021.
Right.
That's a big achievement for all of us.
Huge.
2020 was, you know what I mean? But just grateful to be here, grateful to be alive, grateful to be doing one love. Yeah,
and as I told you before we came on the live, even though we have no carnival season right now, that doesn't mean that you guys are not working. Because I know that you guys still putting in the work, and still with all the challenges that persist, still putting in the work.
Yeah. Like I left studio about, I don't want to lie, maybe after 1 or so this morning.
Right.
Working on songs, working on stuff. As I've advertised before, this year would be the year that I will be releasing my first ever album since, 2016, when I got my stardom, so to speak, in the soca industry, you know what I mean? So it's my first album, and I definitely want to make it memorable. So we put in the work, we're making sure we dot all the I's, cross all the T's, and we get everything right.
Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the conversation I wanted to have with you tonight, I had this question for later on in the conversation, but I think it's fitting to bring it now.
Yeah.
Sunday, I came off the road, sat down on my chair, had the opportunity to take a look at Second Sunday, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll get back to Second Sunday because there's a whole different conversation we're going to have tonight.
Yeah.
But it was really, really emotional for me to see you guys run out on stage. And like I was in a group conversation on Clubhouse, and everybody was saying that the artists of themselves looked like they were so eager to perform because it's the first time you're in front of a live audience in like ages. You understand?
Yeah.
So for you, what was that experience like being on stage for the first time since what? This would be like February or March. What was the last performance you had for 2020, if you can remember?
My last show would have been in March.
Right. So this would have been the first time you're performing. That is what, 9 months? That is 9 months, 10 months, somewhere around there. But anyway, this is the first performance you had since March 2020. What was it feeling like going on stage for the first time in months and just seeing people?
And seeing people. That's the most important thing, because we did virtual shows and that kind of thing. But actually seeing people and seeing them enjoy the music, seeing them, seeing that somewhat... I don't even want to use the word euphoria because it wasn't even that, grand, but that feeling was amazing. I even make a tweet right after because I was just up like, oh, I see somebody coming there.
Yeah.
I was just up thinking like, yo, this really happened. Like I think for me, Sunday was a real eye opener. Sunday really hit me when, like, I reach out on stage and it's like, wait now, we can't do this on a regular. We can't do this every weekend.
Did it feel like the first time you performed? Was it like our first time you performing?
No, I think the first time I performed I was more nervous than anything else.
Right.
But this in particular felt like it's like you know, like if you went away for some time and then you come back and see your firstborn, that feeling like that you just hug up the crowd and it just. Like it felt like I was home now, but like I now reach back home after years or months, in this case months, from not being around now, boy. And just that feeling, like when I made a tweet, I was like, yo, I felt like a kid in a playground. It's like I didn't want to come off the stage. It's like I just want to sing. Boy, that feeling. Words can't describe the way I felt. Actually on that stage, hearing people sing a song again, seeing people waving, seeing people smiling. The smiles is everything for me. Sometimes I'm on stage and I just smiling and I smiling because you smiling. I don't know why I smile. I smile because you smile. You know what I mean? And that is it for me. That I just love making people happy.
Yeah. As I was telling somebody, and I told you that before when we were in the waiting room before the live, I look at Second Sunday as probably the most important show that we needed at this point in time for the Carnival-less 2021. I have some thoughts about that, which we'll get into later. But to me, it was a real emotional experience actually seeing artists on stage and actually seeing people in a crowd to be able to raise a hand or to whatever, because as you would know in the virtual space, you're talking to a camera, you're talking to a phone, but now you actually had physical people that was in the audience at the point in time, and that must have been a really, really big emotional experience for everybody. What was it feeling like backstage in terms of all the artists before they came on?
Well, backstage we didn't really have much time to like lime or talk to people and that kind of thing. I mean, outside when I just reached, I saw Ding Dong leaving, and the first Ding Dong saying, "Boy, inside they had real forward." He said, "Inside it, you will get real forward by voice." So I don't get kind of antsy already because it's like since March, me ain't get no hand in the air. So I started get antsy and I put on my jacket and he said, yeah, you'll get a vibe in there. I said, but how it is? I said, people standing up, they sing down. He said, boy, both, but the energy good now.
Right.
And walking through now, I met up Farmer, but Farmer didn't go on yet because I went on just after Farmer. So Farmer wasn't on yet. So he wasn't able to tell me, like the vibe. So everybody who didn't perform yet, they were actually outside the venue. We weren't even backstage, like outside the venue.
Right.
And, so he wasn't able to tell me anything. But by the time I reached in the venue and I saw Farmer, I kind of peeped where I was able to peep,
Right.
And I see when Farmer walk out with the cooler and I see that crowd lift. I was like, my paws had to raise because like, yo, this really happening. Like this. That feeling was amazing, man. Amazing.
Yeah. As I said, one of the most important shows for the year. A lot of issues coming out of it, which we'll get back to later on. But as a always tell people with the Creative Collective, this is really meant to kind of get a more in-depth view of our artists, entertainers, and people involved in creative industries. And as I was telling you, we will sit down and we'll watch the interview with Rihanna for 2 hours, and the one with Drake, and everybody will be like, oh, good, I didn't know Drake do this, and yada, yada, yada. But I think in many ways, people know of our artists and know of the people that making the music and making us happy, but they don't really know the history, the backstory, the motivations behind what they're doing. Long before the Soca Monarch, long before you were able to win the crown, you were involved in music since secondary school. And I started to think right now, like St. George's College is the bastion of talent now. Because it's you, is Irfan, is Penny. I don't know who else went to St. George's College. Who else? Nadia, I didn't even know that.
Yes, Nadia Batson and George's.
I did not know this. So
yeah, a lot of musicians and things who pass through St. George's.
So going through school and coming out of that, is it that your intention was always to do music from the beginning?
Yes and no, because let me take it back. Even since primary school, my family, they were always heavily involved in music, right? So we had a parang band, we used to play parang. My uncle and my mom and they used to dance Best Village. So I would learn to play drums from them, and it would be that kind of vibe. There's always some kind of music vibe, and progressing in life and going to secondary school, I found passion in football. So I tell myself, boy, I want to be a footballer. I don't want to be a musician again, because from just talking back a little bit in primary school, I would always dress up like Bungie now. I was a huge Bungie fan. So I would get a towel. I would have a towel wrapped around my head and go and sing all Bungie songs on some gravel and thing, and it's real chant. Because I always loved that now, and I love Bungie as an artist too. So moving forward now, when I reached secondary school, I found a passion in football. I told myself, you know what? I'm going to pursue football. I'm working hard in football. I joined football clubs and that kind of thing. I was playing for a while. And it was only until my late stage in St. George's College, and it happened just off a kick set. We were just there playing football in the backyard. Right. And at the same time, they were doing a competition. The school had a competition, their soca competition. And I just run in and say, hey, well, let me sing something. And we went in, and I have to have one soca song at that time, and I wrote it just for kids.
Right.
I have to have the soca song, and we run in the music room and started singing, and the place mashed up. So I was like, what? They saw me like this really song and good toilet. And at that time, I didn't even know I could sing. To be honest, I had no idea that I could sing. So I was actually playing pan. I was doing music for CXC, and I was playing pan at the time. Right. Because each person would have to have an instrument, until I found out that you could use your voice as an instrument. I was like, all right, cool. So I sing a soca, people like it. And just the fact that I felt like I didn't have to learn all these notes and these songs on the pan, I say, why not just sing? Right. So I tell myself, well, boy, I go in and sing, because at that time I just want to pass music. Right. And when I sang for the first time, my teacher's like, Aaron, you know you could sing? I was like, miss, don't do that. Right. I said, miss, don't do that. Come on, do. And she was like, no, Aaron, you have a good voice. You just need to, practice and that kind of thing. And that is when I really started singing like that now. Right. And, after doing music in St. George's College, and the same soca competition I told you about, we ended up winning the competition. Yeah. And then I did lower 6 in St. George's, and I entered the competition again. Right. That year, Penny and all compete in the competition, and I beat up Penny. I'll make sure I'll put this tomorrow. I'm going to make sure I clip this for Instagram tomorrow and tag him. Yeah. I beat Penny. Yeah, but and after that year, I decided to take music a little more serious. Through a mutual friend, which is Nathaniel Hamilton. Natty, he's a gospel artist known as Nathaniel. Right. I met some songwriters by the name of FB, Full Entertainment. Corey and Kevin had picked them up. And that is where everything kind of, the puzzle start piecing together itself, because after meeting them, they wrote a song for me for a competition in QRC. I was still going to school at the point in time.
Right.
And they wrote this song named Detention. And I went to Nico. Now this competition had children from all over all over Trinidad, not just St. George's.
Right.
Right. And I entered and I won the competition. And I was like, nah, boy, this thing really looking like it making sense.
To this day, can you remember the lyrics of Detention, or you can't remember the lyrics from that?
Probably not the whole thing. What's funny enough, Penny know the whole song. I don't know how Penny know. But I may not be able to remember the whole song. It went something like, life as a teacher, trust me is real pressure. Once carnival time and children by the cafeteria, footbox on they're jamming up. But it's no.
Yeah.
So the chorus was, send them down in detention, put them down in detention.
Yeah.
Send the children down in the office, down in the office, down in the something like that.
Yeah.
We was able to win the competition. So the following I say, you know what, I want to take it up on notch. I'm going in Synergy Soca Star. Right? So I gears up. Well, I was already friends with FB. They wrote a song for me. And as about to enter the competition, Pops and them say, you cannot choose music and football. You need to pick one. And I actually transferred to El Rado to play football at the point in time. And Intercol was good and whatnot. So I was like, but you know what? I going to stick to my football and whatever.
What was your football team from a long time? You was a Manchester United fan, a Real Madrid fan?
Long time. I was always a Christie fan. Everybody know me, know wherever Christie go, I back in Christie full.
Right.
In those days, I used to back Manchester United because Cristiano was there.
Right.
Right, so so he told me I wasn't able to enter the competition. I was like, cool, no problem. The following year when I was in upper 6 in Eldo, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take my chance in the soca, and I entered Synergy Soca Star, and the rest was history. That is when, you know, it was like a turning point for me now. Like I just forget about football. I put football on the back burner because going in Synergy Soca Star, and this is why I truly believe competitions like these should still be here today to nurture the young talents and help them and, you know, show them certain ways and, you know, teach them different stuff, because
Right.
I learned a lot from Synergy Soca Star.
Right.
One of the most important things I was able to recognize is my influence in music and my influence as a person. From the time I entered Synergy Soca Star, I knew that music is where I was supposed to be. And it felt like everything was becoming full circle, because remember I tell you at primary school, I had a big love for music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it felt like everything came full circle, and Soca Star showed me that the way the crowd received me, the way I was able to learn different stuff, learn using the stage, learn projecting, learn commanding the crowd, learn interacting with your audience. I was able to learn a lot of those things now. And even in the finals for Synergy Soca Star, it is one of the biggest lessons to date, and I will always say that now, because I went out in the finals of Synergy Soca Star with Alien, with Alien being the favorite. Right. So everybody was like, Voice gonna win, right? I had a lot of people backing me, a lot of support. And like on the final night, everything just gets in my head now. And I run on stage, and looking back at the performance, it was horrible. It was a horrible vocal performance. Right? Because I literally shout the entire performance, like, take a wide on a high. Like, I don't know what was saying to me, but I was just trying to amp up the crowd. Now the crowd was going insane, Right. Jump and wave and thing, but my vocal performance was, I would say, horrible. Right. Looking back at it, and even when I found out I came second in the competition, I cried like a baby. But you know, going back and even after the competition, Peter C. At that point in time, I believe Nadia was also a judge. You know? Nadia was a judge as well. Yeah,
and she was actually. Yeah.
Jaiga was a judge. And one of the main things they told me is that I didn't sing my song. I allowed the crowd to sing my song. I allowed the crowd to control me. And I never forget that moment. Yeah. I never forgot that moment. And I could even go as far as saying that in 2016, my first Soca Monarch final, I remember that Synergy Soca Star moment. Right. That was just at the back of my mind, just like clockwork, and it keep coming here and do show. Do not show.
Yeah.
Sing your song. And I went on stage, and even losing my voice a little bit on stage, I still try to maintain sing a song, do show, sing a song. And that's how I was able to pull it off.
Right. You know, it's a funny thing about it. You mentioned Alien, and I find it so funny because a lot of artists, especially ones who have real success right now, when they look back on the earlier songs, them don't want to hear them songs at all. Because I remember last year, I was doing a one-on-one with 5-Star Akil, and I was telling Akil, to this day, dog, you still don't want to hear 5-Star bump on a shake your bum. If you call Akil at any point and say, Akil, I have something for you to hear, dog, and you play that, he go and be literally like, artist, what you doing, boy? And I realize now, especially in the last couple of years, and I had a big up Selector Kerry for this because he real wild on that. Alien making a comeback on the ground now. So when you hear Alien either on radio on some wildness or realize Travis and Penny play it live there, do you sit down and be like, boy, why was really thinking with that song? Or is it that you take a particular level of pride that, you know, that is still part of your repertoire from growing up? Because what one person like Second Star told me is that when you listen to your earlier recordings, you're kind of able to see the maturity and the mistakes that you would have made as an earlier entertainer. But I think the difference with you is like you own it now and you say, boy, I come out with Alien and everybody else take. But them fellas don't want to hear them early tunes at all. So I wonder if it's the same thing for you.
But for me, to be honest, in terms of a song like Alien, because of well, I knew Alien was sort of big in the younger generation.
Yeah, like Sean now says our big tune. So right.
Yeah.
Right.
Alien was popular in the younger generation, and everybody used to tune into Soca Star. Only Soca Star fans or supporters of Soca Star, they would have known Alien. So it's nothing that I would shy away from. Maybe my earlier songs that I used to write on my laptop and think from way back when, I wouldn't want to hear those stuff.
Right.
But I honestly, I don't afraid to own Alien, and as you rightfully said at Second Star, it's about listening and seeing the growth. Because I listen back to Alien and I say, wait, boy, hear how high my voice was. Hear how I used to pitch. I hear the notes that recorded in Alien that I could have sing better if I had the experience and the maturity that I have now. And then on to top it all off, I don't think I would ever in my life sing a song entitled Alien.
But you wrote that song, or that was something that you wrote in collaboration with other people, or that was your full writing?
No, FBE wrote it. Full Blood Entertainment wrote it.
Right.
Yes, so they wrote that song.
All right. Speak about writing. One of the things I find really amazing about you, and I actually spent some time going through your tracks, especially that were posted, and I realized that you are integrally involved in the writing process for all your tracks, right? To my knowledge, and I'm not too sure whether, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, has there been any song that was written for you that you performed or recorded, and how important is it for you to be heavily involved in the writing process?
To be honest, the only song today that I didn't write from 2016 to now would have been Full of Vibe.
Right. That's with Marge Blackman.
Yeah, Marge wrote Full of Vibe. And to be honest, I really don't mind people writing for me. I really have no. You see, the thing is now with writers, they like, my voices write everything for yourself too. They wouldn't even send me a song to begin with. That like, I will sing other people's songs. There's this notion that voice here singing, nobody else should. No, I will sing, somebody else should. The thing is, I have things in a song that I would look for. And I always tell myself, if I could play a song 99 times and still love it, then this is for me. I love the song.
Right.
And even in earlier part of my career, well, from 2016, 2017 or so, I was doing songs that, even though I wrote them, it's songs that I felt like I like. I'll just release it. So these songs I like it, I'll just release it, and I made a commitment. I made a vow to myself, like, I only doing songs that I love. I gonna do songs that I could listen to 120 times back to back, and feel the same way I listened to it the first time now. And I think for me that is honestly why I look for in a song. That melody have to be different. It have to be new. It have to be refreshing. And most importantly, lyrics. There are certain things that I would never sing. Yes, I sing person sing, go down and walk up your waist and get on. there are certain things in songs that I cannot see myself, I cannot see voices singing it that way. You know what I mean?
Is that because you're trying to be, or not trying to be, I don't say trying to be, but is it because you want the music to always be a proper representation of your most authentic self?
Most definitely,
Right.
definitely. And I feel as though me being a young soca artist is my duty to motivate and to inspire people and lead by example. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't and that's just me. That's just me. I'm not knocking on anybody else. It's just me. It's just how I think. And I feel as though if I want somebody to do X, I can do Y.
Right.
Yes, and that's just me. That's just how I live. So I don't know saying, but I on love. I on goodness, I on peace, I on good energy and good vibe. And that every day you come on the live, that's what, well on the Tuesday live, that's what we promoting. We just promoting goodness. It's not to say we won't drink, we won't laugh, we won't have a good time. Right? We are not saints, and it's all about fun and positivity now. And that's what I'm about. So I wouldn't sing a song that does not match that.
I understand that. And it's interesting you say that, because see Mark in the comments now saying with the current culture, how do you manage to stay primarily positive in your musical message? Which is actually something I wanted to ask you, because again, it's like you want to maintain who you are as an individual. But I think the important thing is that you always have to have some grounding principles for you as an individual yourself, right? So it's like, you want to go out and sing positivity, but then with so many things happening in the world right now, what do you do to keep yourself grounded to ensure that that music continues to represent you or your authentic self?
I was start by saying, Mom's not going through that. She is not going through that. Even if I catch a vibes and say, boy, I want to sing Gal Split and Cock Up, she is not going through
that.
You know what I mean? So, and that is it, it's a part of me now. It's a part of me. It's nothing learned. It's nothing, it's just a part of me. That's just how I grow, who I am. There are certain things I would just never venture into, and that is just that. It had no full explanation behind it. Even at times I would, and as I say, it's not just about positivity, but it's about having, as she would say, having good, clean fun.
Good, clean fun.
Good, clean fun. They can have fun. They can jump up. That's why I sang
energy.
That's why I sang Pandemonium, because the carnival time, I wouldn't necessarily want to hear, oh Lord, I said, this is the year for love. I would sing that is who I am. But carnival time, when you're on the road, you want to hear, Lord, it look like Panimo. And you want to see people run around and have a time in their life, something that they could remember about. So it's not just about positive music. And I even had a phase where people was calling me like a gospel soca artist and this kind of.
I remember that.
It's not that serious. Farmer used to call me the Luciano, so I said, it's not that serious. It's not that serious. But at the same time, you know what I mean? I there are just certain things I can't do. I cannot do it.
Yeah. And that has guided, because I look at that as guiding your process. And I had this conversation with Teddy John even last year on the Creative Collective as well, where Teddy was saying that when he was now coming up in the game, everything for him was bumper, big bumper, fat bumper, small bumper, jammer bumper. But he said, coming from a religious family, coming from a church background, he just felt like that really was not him. You understand? And he had to come to a mindset where I want to sing something that properly represents me and not necessarily following the crowd. And I think that is important to, and I raise these points because obviously we have creatives that tune into the podcast and even watch it after. So it's always interesting to hear like when somebody is at the point where you have to write a song and you know of yourself that this is who you are as an individual, but your brethren saying, dog, let me sing something about zest and putting in so and jam she down so whatever. Has anybody ever come to you and say, voice here what going on, but I have a song for you, but I could see you hitting it in high notes about jamming she and she so and split it so and you're like, nah dog, nah.
well funny enough, right? I'm glad you asked that question because I don't know if you know, Marshall, it's your time now.
Yes.
That was actually sent to me.
Serious?
Yeah, that was That was sent to me before, boy, and I find the song was bad. Honestly, I like the energy of the song, but what the song was saying was me.
Right.
And I had to just let it go. I was like, Casey, yo, this song have a vibe. I love the energy in the song, but there's not really me. It's not really me. And I'm not saying that anybody else sing it, it wouldn't be a good song, but I just saying that it's not me now. It don't represent me. It don't represent Voicey. And I just had to just let it go. And then a couple days later, yeah, boy, hip ha! And then there's a big tune. You know what I mean? So, yeah, boy, that's how it goes.
Yeah, what is for you is like it's like Will Smith when he was given the role of the Matrix and he turned it down and it went to Keanu Reeves and the Matrix become like this big cult movie to this day. And Will Smith is like, I just never could have seen myself being Neo now. You understand? So he passed it on to Keanu Reeves and Keanu Reeves take the Matrix and run with it and hold it. And he made Neo now. Up to this day, I can't see Will Smith being Neo now. I just can't. Even knowing you and knowing the kind of person that you are, I just can't see you run out on stage like, it's your time. I can't see that. I can't see that.
Funny. I think people would laugh at me like, Voicey.
But you were. Yeah, right. Yeah, no, you're right. Speak about writing. What is your process? And I want to ask this question, especially for individuals who try to understand what is your process in terms of writing music. For you, what is your process? Is it something like, all right, you're a night guy, so when everything is quiet and nobody is up and nobody in your DMs or whatever, or messaging you, you have time to sit down at 1 a.m. and process how you're going to construct the song? Or is it something that comes to you as inspiration as it comes? You might pick up a phone and start to type one time or whatever. What is your process in terms of that part of it?
Inspiration comes differently, you know. It comes in different forms, different fashions. Sometimes I might get a vibe on a plane. Sometimes I might get, driving, I might get a melody. So it's never really one format, right? What I would say though is that some of my most, how to put it, boy, most creative moments are when I wake up on a morning.
Right.
First thing on a morning. So like, if I searching for melodies for a song, I would, and it's tough to get melodies and whatnot, I would listen to the song and fall asleep with the song.
Right.
And then wake up in the morning and then, I don't know how it just come. It just come like God, it just send melodies.
You know, as I said that, I remember asking Pretty earlier in season 1 if the tracks that he writes, how much of them are related to life and life experiences. Yeah. So like some of the tracks that you write, and I want to actually get into Dancing Away, and I want to shout out Shayna for this one because my friend Shayna Weston was like, she really thinks that people need to deconstruct the lyrics of soca now, because we are accustomed listening to melody, I don't like that thing, but we ain't really sitting down to listen to the lyrics now, right? Yeah. So there's a party song where it says something to the extent of, let me see if I can get this. I'm your guide if ever you lose your sight. You can tell me if I'm wrong for any of the lyrics here. Yeah. I'm your guide if you ever lose your sight. I'm your life if you ever need mine. You are the woman of my dreams. Girl, I want to give my time to you every morning. I will vibe with you. Healthy conversations for life with you. I want to. Sorry?
It's healthy conversations about life with you.
Right. Healthy conversations about life. I want to spend everything, every dime on you, but you tell me now. You say build apartments and don't buy no car. You say invest the rest, build an empire, and when I'm done, give back to who need it more, and girl, I love you just for that. So when I sit around and listen to that last night, it's like, way dog, like. so the first thing I wondered to myself is, I wonder if Voicey write this for some girl boy, which I will tell you straightforward. Like I had 4 people message me today and say, yo, find out from Voicey if you write songs like that, if you writing for some particular girl or whatever. Now. Which I don't know why people always want to go that route. But even to write a song like that, it had to have some kind of inspiration. So I don't know. I mean, you can tell us. I don't know.
Whoa, you make me laugh. There's no a drink of water.
No, but on a real side, let me put it aside. But even to write something like that, is that something that is to say using the type of wording that you're using and coming across, because the song is a lot about love, it's about dancing, yes, but it's about unselfishness in love. You understand? And that's the thing about music, is that you can deconstruct it in so many different ways now. So when you know how to come down with I see Carrie. Nah, Carrie, I am going to promote, sir. But on a real though, writing lyrics like that, is it something, as you say, that you had to literally fall asleep with, wake up in the next morning with, and take time to really construct that in that way, or is it like a total inspiration has come to you?
To be honest, all right, let me touch on Dancing Away. Dancing Away, yes, it was written with someone in mind.
Oh, all right, Carrie, you get the answer.
You get the answer, Carrie.
You get the answer, Carrie.
But for me, honestly though, I am not good at freestyling, and I feel like sometimes, because of I want a song to be great and not just good, I will give it time.
Right.
And Dancing Away was written a couple years back. Dancing Away was written probably like in 2018.
Right.
I wrote Dancing Away, and I just had the first verse, the chorus, and then I didn't have any second verse. And then so I had a space, and then for the second pre-chorus, it was the same pre-chorus as the first one.
Right.
And I ended up getting a verse, which is the I'm your guide if ever you lose your sight, I'm your life if ever you need mine. I got that part.
Right.
And singing back the same pre-chorus, I felt like the story was still not completed. Right? I felt like I needed to go more in depth. I needed to let the people understand or see the reason for love, and it's not just I see you and I like you and we spend time together and I love you, but there are certain things that you would do that make me love you even more. There are certain actions that you would do, so the way that you would think would attract me to you. And sometimes people just feel it's just, it's a chemistry and the way you look and but sometimes it goes as simple as there's certain things you do. And it's not things you do to me, but you might just be kind to someone else. And I just love that about you. The fact that you could not know somebody and still be so kind to, so it's just minor things like that now. And when someone say to you, nah, don't spend your money on me. Invest. Do something for yourself. Build an empire. Expand your brand. And when you're done, give back to those who need it. Like, dog, that is love.
That is love. Yeah.
So
Go ahead, finish.
Right, so it's like, in terms of Dancing Away, a song like that was definitely, it took time. It took me time to actually finish, construct, and feel happy and satisfied with the song. Right. Even their promoter took a lot of time, because I had different ideas, I had different things coming in my mind. If I play for you what their promoter was, like, course you would like, so what is that? You know what I mean?
I actually remember Captain John telling me, because we spoke about it after the song was released and it became the hit it was. And John was like, Voice here that like long time. And he's like, I have something for that. Yeah. I know I have it, but hold it. Just hold it, though. Just hold it. I come in with something. Seriously.
Yes. Yeah. I think when he sent me the chords, when he sent, actually he said it's a melody, right? And it had drums and tunes and that kind of thing. I was like, see, all the drums, let me hear something. And he sent back the. I said, John, anybody, send us anybody else? He said, no, it's just you. I just build this. I say, yo, do not send this to anybody else. I said, I don't have a song. I don't know what I'm gonna sing, but trust me, this is it. And it has certain chords and certain like music beds that you could actually feel in your heart and soul and know. Yeah. Right. And I knew I would have been able to come up with something strong on that instrumental for their promoter. And that's why every song that I wrote, I actually wrote about 4 different songs. Right. And every song that I wrote, I feel like the melodies were good, but not the lyrics. Sometimes the lyrics were good, but not the melodies. I wrote a song that was kind of too deep. It went like, I actually wrote a piece of Honest Dollar on their promoter rhythm.
Okay, cool.
Yes, it went something like, if I could remember, it went something like, tomorrow's not promised, brother, brother. Let me make a honest dollar. That's how it was.
Right.
And yeah, so I had that, and I still felt like maybe I don't want to sing about something so deep on a rhythm like this, because I play back the rhythm and I hear like I'm feeling like euphoria, people jumping up, people having a time, people proud to be from where they're from, and that is when the idea hit me. Once I truly reached the effect is nice. And that's the first line I had, and then everything just built from there.
Yeah. And he actually told me that he had that instrumental packed up like 2 years or something, you know.
Yeah.
And he said I did pack up for 2 years, and then he just sent it to you, and you were like, Doug, you send that instrumental to anybody else? And I said, no. And he's like, voice message me and say, do not send that anybody. Right? When I come in with something, I know it is. I come in with something.
Yeah. I'm up a little bit.
Yeah. But and look at that. That has now turned into one of the biggest tracks I could say in the last decade, I could say, because everybody could relate to it and feel it. Just for everybody that's joining us, once again, we live with Voice. If you guys have any questions that you want to ask Voice, you can send it to the comment section. We'll get it. Some of the comments that we've seen as well too from people that here, we get into that as well too, because it breaks some hearts just now when they say it had a she to the song. I see somebody heart get broken one time. I was like, yeah, like that, like she ready to clock out the live now. But yo, if you guys have any questions, you could get it as well too. We were speaking about tracks that you have, and there are some songs that you've never released. I was reading something last night where they said like Michael Jackson had something like over 2 decades of music that was either written or recorded that was never released. And even up until his death, there was a big fight to get the music. And they didn't know how they were going to release it or how they were going to produce it or whatever, but there were a lot of unreleased Michael Jackson tracks that were packed up. In your entire career right now to this point, do you have like a lot of songs that you've either written or recorded, and it just, as we like to say in Trinidad, it just put on there for now? And what for you is the decisive factor of when you're going to release a song?
In terms of, all right, so you're talking about songs from inception, from ever since?
Well, I know I said earlier in the conversation that I have some songs from inception you never want to hear again. So, so we'll bypass those. So let me say, just around the first Soca Monarch time come to now, are there tracks that you've recorded and you just have it sitting down waiting for the time to release it? And what for you is the main, and I ask this question because again, we have a lot of artists and upcoming artists that try to make a decision on how to release music and when to release music, and that is one of the things we want to do. The Kreative Kollective is for it to be an educative platform. What for you is the decisive factor in terms of releasing a track and when to release the track?
It depends on the song, right? And it depends on the time and the vibe in the air, right? Marshall, let's say, once Super do this, that means it's time to release the power.
what I was going to say, once Super do this, boy.
Yeah, once Super do this, boy. See, that means it's time to go. Because he was telling me that when he had Soca Kingdom now, so he said he releases until Super do this.
Yeah.
But anyhow, there's certain, all right, so for instance, like we touch on Fuller Vibe. Fuller Vibe was released in a time where it had this big, it had the floods and this and that going on in Trinidad, and it had a whole lot of things happening. I think that a hurricane somewhere, and I felt like at that point in time, even though Fuller Vibe was already recorded and put on there, right? Because Marge wrote Fuller Vibe the year before, and I told Marge, I love this song, but it shouldn't be released yet, and I didn't want Fuller Vibe to compete with Far From Finish, right? And it was already late in the season, and Far From Finish was already doing well. So I told her, you know what, let me hold it. And next step is the Lord will do it. And even though she messaged, yo, Voice, we doing this song. I say, yes, Matt, for sure, we doing this song now. And it so happened that we recorded it and it was just there. And with all these things happening, I felt like now was the time for love now. And a love song would fit perfect now in the atmosphere. So some things that you sort of have to create your own trend, but there are others that you need to feed that energy from the people. There's no way you could possibly, well, people do it, but I don't think you would see the true potential of a power soca song if you drop it in October, right? I think that there's a time and a space for that now, right? So there are certain things that you just have to wait on the atmosphere and follow your mind. Follow your mind. A lot of us, including myself, are very indecisive about certain things, being the type of song you're saying, when to release this song. Follow your heart. Follow your heart. When your heart, and you would know when is the right time. So it's not to say like I would go and tell Second Star he should have released Dubai when the DSS thing was hot. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's released after, and it's still a big song because in your heart, in the artist's heart, you would know, all right, now's the time for this. And sometimes they might release a song a little later than it was actually supposed to be released, and it still do well, right? So it's all about feeling. I love to take a vibe for the people. Right. I love to take a vibe for the people. So I would do an early show, right? So that's what we do. We would do early shows. We would try, and even if we are not booked somewhere, running a little fete somewhere and see the vibe of the people. Right. See what they're reacting to, see what they're not reacting to, see where the energy at. We may take 2 or 3 Christmas shows and feel the vibe and see, what making sense, what they clinging to this year, and that is when, we would know, all right, we would release this song, that song, and, so that kind of vibe.
Do you think that there's a mistake that some artists, young and old, because I don't want to put it on young artists alone, but do you think that there's a mistake that some of them make where they record a song and they feel, yeah, everybody go and love it, and they just drop it at the wrong time, and they don't get the love for it, and then they say, well, the system fighting winner, right? But the timing for it just wasn't right.
It just wasn't right. Timing plays a big part, and that's why you need to have a good team, and you need to have real friends who will tell you, yo, big tune, good song, but no, it's not the time for that. Right? There's no way you can, as a new artist, I personally believe that is not a great idea as a new artist to release a song January, February, and Carnival-less in March. Right. Because at that point in time, the people already chose what songs, unless you are Marshall Montano, I personally believe, or somebody who for sure going for road march and established artists, you shouldn't be releasing any groovies as a new artist in January. It could be how much of a good song. I always say good music lasts, but you have to be smart. Right. You have to be smart. Right. It doesn't make sense releasing a groovy song as a new artist in January, February, when you know the atmosphere is building, people going morning parties, want to jump up, and they don't really want to hear groovy songs now. Right. That much. Yeah. Right? Yeah. They would prefer, the bacchanal songs, run up and down, hand in the air. And as we're talking about this, Shomari, and next thing you want to touch on is that the atmosphere has changed. Like, all right, so maybe 5 years ago, a man could have sing a groovy song in a morning party and mash up the place. Right. Until now, we have songs like Top Striker and Nasty Up and Ruction and Pandemonium and Soca Kingdom and Family, which actually lead in the pack in terms of that wildness and that energy. But there was a time in Trinidad and Tobago, the groovies had the thing like a boss. A boss was doing Soca Monarch and Road March.
I think Marshall called that the first groovy power or something. Some kind of right.
Full Extreme too. Full Extreme is a groovy song. Right. But no, we in this so it's different moments, and as artists, as entertainers, you need to look at the trend, look at what's happening around the world, and not necessarily follow suit, but try and stay in the lead.
100%. I actually think that has now been pushed by the island soca. I don't want to call it invasion, but by the island soca push. And I remember telling Carrie this a couple of years ago when we traveled to St. Vincent, that island soca power is really something that's going to catch in a particular point in time. And so we go into St. Vincent and you see in Problem Child and Fireman, Hooper and Skinny Fabulous, how people climbing, scaffolding and all kinds of thing. And we coming back in Trinidad and it's like, you play the song for people, but they're like, Yeah, I ain't really feeling it,
Yeah.
But as now, as Trinbagonians, as we've been traveling to other islands. So you and I know this, we'll go to Vinci Carnival or St. Lucia Carnival or whatever, and you see how some of these power songs hitting, like Denry and whatever. You sit down and think to yourself, but what we missing here in Trinidad and Tobago? So I totally agree with you about that point. I want to get to a question quick that Mark asked me, because I don't want to miss out any question. He was saying, as an actual singer in the genre, do you think it is important for soca artists to have basic understanding of music theory like keys, chords, and harmonies? And I think he asked that question too because, let me be real, I'm not, it's not to call any names or anything, but we know there are some guys that just take a mic and run on and do whatever and it blow up now, and then everybody calling them an artist now, right? But I believe that if you're doing something, you have to have a particular fundamental understanding of what it is again yourself involved to. But so that's a real good question, Mark Reese. How important is that for you? And it should be for any artist.
It should be priority, I would say, because you would come a point in time you would look for notes, you would look for melodies, you would look for certain things, because you don't want to have a song and then the following year you're looking for next song, or you become monotonous, you're singing the same thing over and over, and like you don't know where to go, you don't know what to look for, you don't know what sound to ask for, you know what I mean? And having a musical background or having some sort of knowledge, especially in the theory of music itself, would definitely go a long way, right? I just always say music is like a different language. Right. As in actually reading music and that kind of thing. So I did music at CXC, but to remember plenty of those things, I don't necessarily remember them, but I still have the air.
Right.
I know things that would connect, and that's partly experience as well. But I know about certain things that would connect, and I know things that people would love and they wouldn't love. I know melodies that might be too difficult for the people to sing, or things that will stick, and having some sort of knowledge in the theory of music will definitely add to the songs and add to what you want to release. Because sometimes a man might be playing an A and you might think, nah, a D will work there better. Like different things like that. Now there are a lot of times that I would hear musical progressions, and I would, like even with Travis, right? There was, I think, is either Pandemonium or the song we did with Talpri, and the chords weren't changing how I wanted to. And I said, Travis, I understand what you're doing. I understand you're trying to keep it simple, but I want this to connect, and this is a 4-chord progression, not 2. And simple things like that now, rather than just me coming and trying to write a song and I just do connect to the people now. You know what I mean? So having some sort of knowledge in musical theory, you would know what you want, and it would be easier for the producer, it'd be easier for you.
Yeah, and ironically enough, you mentioned all those things there. But there are still guys outside that will have no idea what you're talking about, and the calling themselves artists, it's like we say with my groove theory team, like we think that all DJs should have some idea of production. You don't need to know the full production, but you need to have some idea of production in terms of keys, chords, etc., etc. But there are a lot of guys that just play music because they want to be in music. So I think that if especially you want to have a career of longevity, it's important that you understand the fundamentals of what it is that you're doing, and that's
because if you see Marshall in a band room, you will understand why he is in the position that he is right now, because he can play keys, he can play guitar, he can play the bass, he can tell you, hey, this is not for this song, and so he's great at engineering. So it's like all those things add to the brand, the overall brand, and that's what you need to understand as well as artists.
Right. I get that. Respect. So as I started beginning, 2020 was probably the most challenging year in a generation when it comes down to a lot of us. We did not expect that 2020 was going to be the way it was. But I said on a previous live, I think was with Pretty, that even though it was challenging for me, given some of my life experiences, it still hasn't been, for me personally, one of the most challenging years I had. Ironically enough, and I'll actually share this story with you because we're on the live. 2016, when you sang Cheers for Life and you won the title for that, you and I were in St. Vincent in Beckway. And that actually, you would not believe that 16 was one of the most challenging years for me in total. So that Beckway weekend was a real breather that I needed. It was something that was like really, really needed. And then because we were all there and, you know, just the energy at the point in time, you know, it was something that was real important to me. And I always remember that point now. For you personally, how has 2020 stacked up in terms of challenges for you personally? Do you think 2020 has been probably the most challenging year of your career, or has there been another time that you're willing to share with anybody? Because again, I want to point out why I asked that question. People see social media and they say, yeah, boy, Voicey out every Thursday and Voicey doing this and Voicey doing that. So everybody feel their life perfect now. But as an individual in entertainment, that is not necessarily the case. So how does 2020 stack up for you in terms of the challenges that you've had coming up?
Challenges in terms of my career, I wouldn't say 2020 was the worst.
Right.
We all face challenges. One of the major challenges for me in 2020 was, you know, being able to find that zeal and that drive to create and to write music. I felt like for a long period in 2020, I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it. I mean, my love and my passion for music was there. It would never change. But, you know, sometimes they get up and they come in the studio and it's like, well, but just forget it. And you tell yourself you'll come back tomorrow, but then you just don't feel to come back tomorrow. You don't feel to come back the next day. You come in the studio the following day and you just play music and just, wherever, forget. And, you know, I've been doing that for a couple of months well in 2020.
Right.
Until I actually, you know, kind of force myself, yo, Voicey, get back to the drawing board. You had to write songs. You had to still create because, you know, people will say, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. Right? And I always feel like, you know, writing songs and working on your craft will definitely help you now.
Right.
So I told myself, yo, this is not, I may not do songs to release. I may not write songs that, you know, would be on my album, but write songs. Just work on your craft. Work on it. And I had to actually put myself in that mood, and it almost became me forcing myself to stay in the studio, because even apart from, you know, it being challenging, it had a lot of distractions and that kind of thing. So I had to, you know, sit myself down, work, and, you know, try and see growth or find ways to grow despite every single thing that was happening in 2020.
Yeah. Was there one particular point during the course of the year, as you said, you were going through that process, and I definitely understand where you're coming from, because as I told Chacha, who I see is in the chat as well, that there are a couple of times when I have a mix to do, I have something to put together, and I just would not touch my laptop for like 3 weeks. So when I know starting to catch back up is like, yo, and you feel disoriented, because there's a party that feels that there are more things going on, or as they call it, noise, that is a little bit more important than this. But at the same point, as you said, you are, this is who you are as an individual. So you have to put yourself in that position to keep writing and keep producing and keep doing that, even if it is that there's no carnival or no season or whatever. Was there one particular time where, like, as you said, you had to snap yourself back into it? Was it like a particular moment where it's like, you know what, today I go and shut off my phone, and as I said before, the same girl who I sing that song for, I ain't talking to she today, and whatever, and I go and sit down and do all this and put myself in that mindset? Was it like that, or was it just like a gradual process to get yourself back into it?
Nah, it would start from one day. It would start from one day. I was like, yo, you see this? Like, it really getting too far. It's too long now without me writing a song. It's too long now without me in the studio doing what I love now. And I felt it like in me. I was like, no, today that's it. And I sort of tell myself, yo, boy, see, from today forward, we here. Whether or not we come up with something proper, whether or not we come up with something substantial, I hear now. And I just had to kind of put myself in that space. So it would have it probably like somewhere in August or September latest was when I told myself, yo, this had to happen.
And that you could say is long, because if from that's March, April, May, that's going straight down that time. Yeah.
Well, I mean, before that, I released By Any Means, I was kind of in the studio for the earlier half. But then maybe like for June, July, that June, July period there, I was just out of it totally. It was just like, I was out of it. I think at that time, that was when we were on total lockdown. So it's nothing happening, you know what I mean? So it was tough. It was tough creatively for me. But to say it was one of the biggest challenges in my career, I would definitely say no. 2017 would have been one of the biggest challenges or challenging years for me.
Right. Any particular? Well, that's if you want to share it. Any particular reasons why? Because at that point in time, you're Soca Monarch now. You're all over the place. And I go down and walk up and you're all over now. As I said, we in Vinci, we're here, we there, we in Lucia. So why for you was 17 like that year?
Well, I wouldn't go in depth, but what I would say that was the year I changed management.
Right.
So I had some stuff going on with me personally, then had some stuff going on management wise, and then on top of that, I was dealing with a lot of people saying Voice is a one-hit wonder now way. Because coming from Chase Alive, I mean Chase Alive being a huge song, coming into the following year, I was like, yo, and you know you would get the naysayers. Now he can't repeat next year. He can't come back and Soca Monarch. That is it. So I was dealing with a lot of that now. And then I started feeling the fight even on shows. It's like, you know, that was the year like I really had to stamp my name in the industry now.
Right.
And it was important for me to release a song like Far From Finish.
Right.
I felt like anything else in that moment in my career would not have worked. Even as a songwriter, I always knew your second year is the most important year of your career.
Right.
Because that's the year you had to say, I here for a reason. Right? And this is as a songwriter. This is not at me as voice singing Chase Alive. As a songwriter, I knew from before that if you get a hit, it's not that difficult. It's tough, but it's not that difficult to get a hit.
Right.
To get a follow-up hit is where the hard, because you don't want to sing the same thing you sing the year before. Yeah, people say if it's broken, don't fix it. But not in soca music. You need to come different. You need to sing something different. You need to stand out, right? And at the same time, I don't want to change my niche. I don't want to step away from my lane, which is, you know, the positive vibe and that kind of thing. And I feel like the only way I could have, you know, still, you know, solidify my place or make sense in the industry is just being real and giving them 100% me. And everything that I was going through that year, I had to tell myself, voice, see, there is not the end.
Wow.
This is not the end, yo. This is not the end. You work too hard. You've been through too much. I've been sleeping in studios, full of marijuana studios that I don't even smoke. And it's like I had to inhale this because I want to sing. Yo, I want to sing. That time I didn't have my studio yet, so I would be studio there late. Sometimes other people using the studio and I had to wait outside in the car. I remember a time I traveled to studio with no money to travel back. That's how much I wanted to be here. And like I would go to the studio and have no way to reach home, but it's like wherever once I reach the studio, something will happen, right? And you know, I had to tell myself in 2017, yo, you went through all of this, not to turn back. You can't turn back here. You can't turn back here. And something spoke to me, and I say, yo, I had to let the people know what happening inside. And when I say, yo, no bad mind, boy, they could stop me. Like, that, I said that from here. It's like 2017 was definitely that turning point for me. And even that year, I wasn't able to fly because of visa problems. And, you know, I was booked for a lot of shows. And after the Carnival, even winning Soca Monarch, like, it never stopped. It never stopped because I was booked for a lot of shows in the US. And then I come and I lost my visa. So all those things were just happening, and it's like, yo, and my mom and my family, my dad was always by my side saying, Aaron, despite whatever, just continue. Push on, press on, and keep fulfilling your purpose.
Yeah. And it's interesting you raise that point, because that's actually one of the last things I was going to get to shortly, was the fact that, and I talk about this a lot with Chacha, with the Groove Theory team, and with some of my other partners, your ecosystem is extremely important. And you always have to keep a mental mindset of the individuals that's surrounding you all the time, especially when you have success. Because when things are great, everybody there. But when things either not so great, or for them, they are not seeing your vision in the direction that you want to go. They are going to be the doubters that go and be in the air and saying, well, nah, I think you could, whatever, and yada, yada, yada. So you now have to really make sure and cultivate a proper culture of your friends and your people who are around you. And I think that is something that's most important.
You need to have people who are genuinely there for you. No yes men, nobody that's there for the hype, right? Because there will come a time, like there were times maybe like I can't really I can't say to be exact, but maybe same 2017 period where shows that would call you or shows that would you think you wouldn't be on those shows anymore. You will go through a little lag, right? And you need to have people who are there for you despite whatever you're going through, right? And that's why I'm grateful for the people around me, Lyndon especially, because when I just started music, the first song I wrote, I sent it to Lyndon. The only reason Lyndon wasn't my manager there and then was because he was living in Miami. He had his wife in Miami, and
right.
It was impossible for him to have him here. And then when Chase Life happened, he wasn't here yet. So it was impossible for him to be my manager. But God has put things in certain put things up in certain ways that it just happened for the best, right? And now like the whole thing became full circle, 2018 when he was my manager and he became my manager again. And from then to now is like high roads, low roads, rough patch, smooth patch. We rolling and we riding. Even up to this day, 2020. We coming off I would say a big year with their promoter, and then COVID, no shows at all. We still there. We still here. We still riding. We still the album had to go. Like even as much as it may have been a tough year for all of us. We know the purpose and we know the goal and we know what we want to achieve and in what space of time we want to achieve that now. And having those kind of people around, even Penny, because Penny been my brethren from since school days. Right? Since before Voice and Major Penny. Me and Penny riding in school, you know what I mean? And to have him as a part of the team now is definitely something that I feel like it should have happened a long time now, but it happened when it was supposed to happen.
I get that. I get that. That is powerful. To Trini Child and Tammy, I'll get your question shortly, but I want to just cover this part quickly. And before we wrap up, I'll get to your two questions. So that'll be the last thing that we do. As you mentioned, Penny, something that's been going on that's probably like watching the NBA finals, right? It's like watching Game 7 of the NBA finals, or it's like tuning in on Netflix to watch whatever it is you're watching on Netflix right now. Every Thursday night, thousands of people joined in to vibe with Voicey, right? Now, before I did the blueprint last year with Penny, we had a discussion about the vibes with Voicey. But I really want you to tell the people, where did the concept for the vibes with Voicey come up from? Because from what I've been told within the conversation, it really wasn't meant to be something that was running so long, right? It was really like you and Penny, your last brethren, Thursday, let me just do a thing. Because as I say, it's about good vibes and love and whatever, right? Cool. But then vibes with Voicey turned into like the NBA finals, dog. It's like I have friends who will message me and say, Shomari, if you're doing a live, it can't be Thursday because it's Voicey Thursday. Right? So as we said, we are now putting it out in the air. Thursdays is now Voicey Thursdays. That has been signed, sealed, and delivered. Thursdays is Voicey Thursdays. So where did the vibes with Voicey come from?
Funny enough, right? I just say that. I had a girl call me and bad me up. She said, Voicey, you make me have to change my day because all the people who was on my live watching Vibes and Voicey.
Right.
I said, it wasn't me. We actually started live on a Tuesday. Right. We started live on a Tuesday. And the following week, for some reason, we couldn't make the Tuesday. And Penny was like, let me do the Thursday. Let the week pass now.
Right.
And that Thursday happened to be one of the big Thursdays. Right? Because we had some comedians on and that kind of thing. And that Thursday, Tribe was on, Hoppy, and them, a lot of the influencers in the industry were on and commenting. And that is when it started to pick up our energy now, right? But to go back to the start where it began, yo, Penny and I, we just sit down, Lyndon included, and we was like, yo, what we want to do? Boy? We just want to do something to incorporate the people, right? Now, mind you, prior to Vibes with Voicey, I've never went live by myself.
Correct.
Never went live. I never put on my phone and say, yo, Voicey here, what going on? What to do with it? I've never ever done that before, right? And it was like something new for me. And it took a lot of conversation, I must say, right? Because people who know me, well, even if we're looking on, prior to Vibes with Voicey, I would only post certain things.
We don't know you for that side of your personality. Even if your real friends know you like that, the rest of the public, which I think is important to them, we don't know you for that, right?
And I think that in itself, that there was the trump card for us, because it's not to say I am a person who I always talking Japanese, I always loud, I always, I would usually be to myself, and especially on social media, I would never post certain things. I wouldn't post me talking Japanese. I wouldn't post me drinking. I would, but Vibes with Voicey was just, it became that space where I could be Voicey now. It wasn't about voice. It was about Voicey. It's about Aaron. I could be me.
You could be Aaron.
And I think for me, yo, when I saw that the people accept this, it was like gold. It was
you were afraid that people would have been like, what the hell Voice do? Were you afraid of that?
Most definitely.
Serious? Wow.
Yeah, because remember, Shomari, I've never shown this side.
No, you're not exactly. Yeah.
People just know me as Voicey, sing a tune, commented, but back, and I go on, right? and most of my interviews, I would talk about my career, and I would talk about how it started and that kind of thing. And it would never be like, by way it is do for a hobby, or way it is, like it would never be like a casual interview,
right?
In terms of, like wherever now, talk about random stuff.
Right.
And I felt like Vibes with Voicey opened up that space where, and funny enough, right? We did that, the first live. We did it when the Prime Minister announced no Carnival next year. The only way a Carnival will come is if a dramatic wind blows over us.
So that was a heavy Vibes Tuesday.
So I said, my Penny boy, let me go live, and he was like, yeah, let me do it. And then right before I went live, I was kind of frightened because people already know me for that.
People don't know you for that, yeah.
Yeah, and that night we got 500 people on max, right? That was 500 people max. And I was like, yo, I just want to touch base with artists, see what's going on, because no Carnival next year. I don't know what we're going to do, if we're going to be releasing music still. And I called Nadi, I called Lero, and I realized like people like this vibe.
Right.
I realized that people like the vibe. And then the following week, we called other people. Oh, Cranium.
Well, boy, listen. I was going to mention that today. See, Cranium sealed himself as a total joker, because I will never forget the night when he come on and he talk about one shot or something and rapid response, and everybody in the chat going better the rap, and women are literally like, yo, don't bring Cranium here to hit on me,
Let me tell you, right? Cranium and I never spoke before the live.
Wow.
Like the most was that he DM me and like, yo, I love your work, that kind of thing, work together, and that's as far as it went. We just spoke probably like it was a short conversation. We would work together, and that was it. We never spoke on a phone call. I never had his number. I never reached out to him like, yo, XYZ, that kind. It was never anything like that. And the first live, I see he sent a friend request. I was like, what? Great. I was like, okay, and that was it. The energy is just aligned, and since then he come on every night, and the people just love him. And I didn't even know he never came to Trinidad before. To me, in my mind, Cranium.
I thought so too, I thought so. He probably came here once,
But he explained that he's never been in Trinidad. He's been in a Trinidadian.
Jesus Christ. You see, this is why This is why this rapid response thing is a serious thing, because women in Trinidad don't want no rapid response, dog. Like, oh, not that dog, no
but
dog.
yeah, since then we receive a lot of messages about vibes with Voicey, and it's like a breath of fresh air for the people. It's like, yo, people looking forward to Tuesdays.
Yeah,
for that vibe, for that energy, for the laughter, for the gimmick, for the skits, for the games, for the giveaways, for Akeem.
for Akeem. So were you the one that came up with the skit for the season 2 launch?
No, that was Penny idea.
Right.
That was Penny idea.
I've seen a couple of people in the comments like, is the season 2 launch for me now? So everybody.
Yeah. Penny was like, yo, we should, and this was during the season. It's an episode we did a Throwback Tuesday.
Right.
And Penny was like, for the Throwback Tuesday, we should do Rambo. Not Rambo, Rocky.
Rocky,
and
right.
Rocky, and I should be a trainer, and we just never got around to doing it.
Right.
And then when we took the break and we came back, I was like, yo, we need to come back with a bang. We need to do something different. We need to do a video. And Penny was like, yeah, well, let me do it. And we say, all right, let me do it. And that was it. We link up Dory, we link up Nick, and we did it. And yo, people, I think that's the most viewed video on my page right now.
Well, probably that's, and you know why it's so funny, Ray, about people not accustomed seeing this side of you?
Yeah.
And that's one of the main reasons for the Creative Collective, because I want people to actually understand that all of us, especially people in the public, are human beings too now. So I always remember you posted a video in December saying, when you had to power wash the yard because your mother gonna tell you if you had to go and do live later, you make sure and power wash the yard. And I remember somebody messaging me and like, you see Voice power washing the yard. Is like, but what you expect me to do? I mean, the man home dog, like if the man go and power wash the yard, that make that he's a human being. You know?
I went out on the road power washing and I gave people like people would pass and see me and like, what you just power wash? What do you think? I said, just so I just stopped doing my parents' chores. No, I am.
Yeah. And that's for me. I think because I remember Penny was telling me that there was one person who had messaged him, and she was literally saying that when she was going through some challenges at the point in time, but the Thursday night vibes with Voicey was something that for her was keeping her spirits up. And I think one of the important things to take out of that is that it's been therapeutic for people, but it's been therapeutic for you too. Like there's a side of you that you now getting to express and now come out of the bubble of being just Voicey, but being Aaron. And I think that is a challenge that creatives have a lot of times when people want to pigeonhole you in this one box here and say, well, you're supposed to just sing this, that, that. No, you could actually express more of yourself outside of just something being music now. You know?
I think that is one of the things that actually drove us to do our next season or to continue it now. Because we got a lot of times people in London, like apparently when we start the live, it's be 5 a.m. in London. And people are setting their alarms to wake up to watch Voice. Voice. I'm like, yo, you are waking up 5 a.m. to watch us.
To see you on Period Martel.
You know what I mean? Talk shop with us. I was like, this is more than what we think it is. And then the messages started coming in, people saying, they've been going through a rough patch, they've been going through depression, who've been laid off of work, who've lost families, who've lost friends, who face financial instability, and these people come into vibe with Voicey, like they just their getaway, they just their night to laugh and all talk and take a drink and just enjoy the moment. Because we don't understand a lot of people going through things that they're definitely stressed out. They're stressed out to the point where it could lead to, it could be fatal, right? And we doing this, or we having this show, and people looking forward to it for a little laugh. A little laugh does go a long way.
Yeah.
A smile, a great conversation, an interesting topic could go a long way, longer than we think. You know what I mean? Because we may have it different. We may have things different. We may not be going through things that others may be going through. But there are people out there that they are facing the wrath of it. Correct. And to be able to put a smile on people's face every Tuesday, every week, is definitely a blessing. It was a blessing.
Yeah. I feel that. I totally feel that. I want to get to the last two things quickly before we wrap up. So when we started the conversation, we started talking about Second Sunday, right?
Yeah.
And as I told you in the beginning, I thought that second Sunday was the most important thing to happen for Carnival-less 2021, right? Coming out of second Sunday, however, we've seen a lot of conversations happening in the media and with different people who are, I guess, considered the gatekeepers when it comes down to certain things. And people are talking about, should a show like that happen right now in COVID? There has been some talk that the police commissioner is looking to investigate the matter. The culture minister now wants to meet with the venues that are responsible or have gotten, if you want to call it, a permission to events in this period of time. I have my point of view about it, but I'm really interested in hearing from you. What is your thought process on? Well, before I say that, from you being there at the show, did you think that there was any reason that anybody should have to feel insecure about going to a show like that now? And B, what's your thought process on what is the controversy coming out of it with some parts of the sector right now?
Definitely, I don't feel people should be worried about the show or doing a show like that or being a part of a show like that. What I could say is I didn't enter the normal where the patrons entered, but from what I've heard from everyone that most of the people out there, they said that it was strict guidelines, strict rules. You can't come in. I think they were coming in by groups, right? They were coming in the venue by groups. So you sat in your car and then they allow some to come in the venue, some to come in the venue until everybody was there. And you had to sanitize, temperature check, write your information on whatever log they were taking just in case of contact tracing. A contact trace would have to be done, and then they were spaced out, right? When I reached the venue, I didn't go on and see, the actual, like how they were seated and that kind of thing, right?
Right.
Obviously, after I saw videos and that kind of thing. But when I reached, I didn't see how everybody was sitting down, right? But from the pictures and whatnot, it looked like everyone was spaced and that kind of thing.
Correct.
The fact that would deter people is because people don't really know who came with who, right? So there were some people who were sitting down together and they came with each other, but the general public would not have known, hey, these people together or these people together, that kind of thing. Right. So I just think for in future, everybody had to space out and just, it is what it is. It is what it is, right? So you're coming to enjoy the show. Yes, you go live with your friends and partner, but everybody had to space out. But to me, honestly, there's no reason why the public or someone should feel, deterred to go to be a part of a show like that. I think it was organized the way it should have been organized. The artists, it had no gathering backstage. Nobody could align backstage. But I wasn't even backstage. I was outside the event until they were waiting for me, and I went up and that kind of thing. But for the most part, there was no congregation backstage. Nobody was lining backstage. I had no alcohol at all in the venue.
Yeah.
Even in the seats in the auditorium itself, no drinking, no eating.
Right.
So it's nothing that to say, well, all right, these people influenced by alcohol or they're under the influence. That it wasn't anything like that. I mean, it's just soca music. And in their defense, we was in a situation close to that in months. Right. We were not in a situation close to that in months. So even if I was in the crowd and I hear Ding Dong come out with we outside, I too am going to stand up and
yeah.
There's no way. I try to picture it now. There's no way that I could hear certain songs and not feel that, just stand himself, and I don't think that was against the law. You know what I mean?
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. And I think because people would stand up and waving, the people that won there and the commenters and Facebook and that kind of thing, they were under the assumption like it was a fete or it was a party.
Correct.
But people were just standing up in their actual seat. It maybe had one moment that somebody walked forward and that kind of thing. But the general consensus is that, everybody was, where they were supposed to be seated. If a man stand up and wave, he stand up and wave, right? But that don't mean he causing like it was a big euphoria and people was running up and down the aisles. If we tell people, hey, run so and come back so, and people run it, I say, all right, nah, that's off because
Yeah.
the laws. But from what I saw, there wasn't anything like that. So I mean, but regardless of what people would say, because you would see the comments, oh gosh, what happened more like thing 1 year and this and that, and you would see those things regardless of what, and like anything in life, you would have the negative and you would have the positive, right?
I actually think that is something that's real important in the understanding of this entire thing, because what I was telling somebody is that whether the show happened or didn't happen, or even if it is 10 people there was going to be some negative.
Regardless.
And to me, the bigger issue is we continue in the country to not see the importance of the cultural aspects and the business aspects of protecting this. This is ours, right? And it is so telling to me, and again, this is my view, so this is not Voicey view, but we having a discussion. It's telling to me that we have young people, so shout out to Nesta, Empire, the entire team. We have people who are now taking the innovation to do virtual shows, right? Yes, to be able to promote themselves, but also promote the culture and to keep the culture continuously going at a point in time when everybody expects it to shut down. Because at the end of the day, even if it is that, okay, there are some people that be saying, well, all you can't take a year off. But at the same point in time, there's somebody's livelihood. There's an individual who has to live and who has to be able to be creative. And there are people out there, and I was in a Clubhouse group talking about this. There were individuals who told me in Clubhouse, like, yo, when I saw a Voice come on and sing their promoter, I nearly cried. Because it was the first time in a year that I actually get that kind of feeling to see, even if it was 100 people that inside a 800 venue, so it wasn't much people, to see that few people actually entertained by a live performance by my artists. That is something that I needed as something personally for me. But I think the bigger issue is, how do we now start to let people understand that this is business and this is our culture that we have to protect, and we have to be able to find that balance to be able to be safe. So nobody's saying not to be safe, but at the same point in time, what are we going to do right now to encourage the creatives in these industries to be able to still want to put out and want to produce and want to entertain and to be able to live and to make money? Because again, and I give credit to Second Star for the show, he has now set a template that people could build up upon and probably make better or whatever, but it's a template that started, because prior to that, nobody really did any live shows, but I was still reminded that there were shows held at the Christmas time in the same venue. It was just like Christmas concerts, and nobody was saying anything about that. But no, the soca artists come on and Voice come on and seeing hand in the air, and everybody vexed now because, like, we need to investigate that matter. I think that's an extremely one-sided way of looking at something.
To be honest, too, Shomari, I think one of the things that we as a people have to look at and have to deal with is the fact that we take for granted our culture.
Yes, we do.
We take for granted that we are the mecca of soca music. We are the mecca of carnival, right? And we need to us when and I'm grateful to have the opportunity to go out and fly and go different places. Well, obviously not now, but I'm grateful to be able to visit different countries and islands. And when they hear those soca music, as simple as when they hear our accent, that is one.
Right.
But when they hear soca music and even when they talk about Trinidad Carnival and how impactful Trinidad, it has some people, regardless of what, they are not missing Trinidad Carnival at all.
Correct.
Regardless of what, they're not, and I think that we don't understand the level of influence. We don't understand how much people outside wish they were in our positions right now.
Correct.
Right? I would say this is the happiest place. Trinidad and Tobago is probably one of the happiest places on the face of the earth, right? We don't allow much to affect us. And when I wrote, they can't party like we, I meant that, dog. They cannot party like us. We will go party back to back to
To
back
back.
to back to back. And it's like, that's just who we are as a people, right? And soca music drives that. Our culture drives that. Who we are as a people, the way we live, our way of life, it drives that dread. And to see that, a concert like this is being, it became something so controversial to the fact that an investigation has to be done and that kind of thing. Like, I feel like we honestly, the things that we're supposed to love and cherish, we really don't. We really don't as a people, because people paying US bucks, they're paying pounds. There are some people who would pay whatever it takes to see Marshall Montano, to see Kess, to see Desha, to see Fian, to see Gallon. They will pay whatever just to go to a soca concert. And there are people here that is like, wherever them soca artists, forget them. You know what I mean? And that is definitely bothering me, Jay. That's bothering me a lot.
But why do you think it is that we take Trinbagonian culture for granted? What is your feeling for that? What is your thought process on that, if you have one?
I don't know. I don't know. I've been trying to process it a while. There's a saying that goes, you could be a star away, but you would never be a star home. Right. So I don't know if.
Yeah, we're still here.
I don't know if that's the case where, we feel like, because, we are Trinbagonian artists and we're from right here, that we don't have to, and it's just a soca song. It's just a soca artist singing a soca song, that we do have to respect the artist. We do have to respect the craft. We do have to respect the time and the effort and the energies it goes into making a song, right?
Yeah.
Part of it, I would say on this platform right now, I honestly think part of it is, well, it stems from people feeling or believing that anybody could sing a soca song. Yeah, son. That also has a big part or a big role to play in it, because it's like, this don't take, in a lot of people's minds, this don't take much, right? I've gone to I'm sorry to share, but I've gone to Korea's, right? And people, their kids asking me, so what else you just do?
Wow.
You just sing alone. All you just do is sing soca. And that in itself is something that we need to take out. It's like, yes, I could live on soca music. Yes, I can have a comfortable living over soca music. And the notion, especially in the younger generation, is that soca music is not profitable, or is not, and I don't know where this stems from. I don't know the mindset, but it's definitely something that we had to get to the bottom of. We had to get to the crux of the matter, and we had to start changing it.
Yeah. I've been telling people for a very long time. My thought is that I still think that a lot of people don't know what it means to be Trinbagonian, and they don't know what it means to appreciate what is Trinbagonian.
Yeah,
and I understand that there may be flaws in our country, like any other country. So for all the people that love, like, let me just say, if you take what's going on in the US right now, people love the US for all the different reasons, and we see that there is some level of political instability going on there. So their flaws are right now are the highlight, right? But the bottom line is that somebody who is from New York, somebody from wherever, because they love their country. I'm American, yada yada yada, right? Yeah. As Trinbagonians, we kind of Trini sometimes now, and we have to start cultivating the idea that we are Trinbagonian all the time. You understand? And it means that we also have to protect what is ours and protect the culture that comes from here. Because look, there are so many different things that people could come here and take and say the buying and hold as their own. And we have ourselves now have to find a way to protect what we own. So that's why I go back to the point of Second Sunday, in the fact that here you have a guy, and I did a live with Second Star, which I'm going to post on my YouTube channel tomorrow, so you guys can check it out. Nestor himself last year was saying that, this is something different. He didn't know what to make it, but he still pulled himself together with the team. Shout out to Stefan from Empire in the chat, right? And they put on a show with COVID protocols, with artists. And I'm quite certain it wasn't anything that they make a set of money from, because generally speaking, it was a free show. You could watch it on Facebook, on Instagram, whatever, whatnot. And they do that for the love of the music and for representing the culture. I don't understand why it is that as a nation, we can't get behind that to defend that, because that's what we're supposed to be defending right now. That's just my position.
Shouts a second sanity as well for even going brave and doing a show like that, because I think even following the guidelines and all the protocols and the regulation and whatnot, regardless of what, as we said prior, there would be people who would disagree with having a soca show, right? From 10 years soca music and people gathered is a fit.
Right.
How is a fit? So because soca music playing, and the difference is people standing up and waving as opposed to sitting down and listening, it end up a fit. So and I heard someone on a radio say, like, we need to decipher what makes it different from a party or concert, a concert or show to a party or fed. What differentiates that? What makes it different? The fact that a man drinking alcohol, the fact that a man jumping up and waving, the fact that a man is showing that he's actually enjoying
himself,
expressing that he's enjoying himself. What makes it a fed? What's the difference? Because you put people in a hall, they sit down, certain artists come, they stand up, they wave, they sit back down.
Yeah.
What is different? What, if you understand what I'm saying, what is the difference of it? No, there's not a concert, it's a fit. I don't understand.
Yeah, I even Rome and was explaining same Clubhouse group after the concert on Sunday, and I'm gonna call it a concert, right? It's not a fete, because being part of the second Sunday show for the last couple of years as well, we've always wanted to be a fete suit. I know that's something that they look at it. Yes, it has elements of a fete, but it's a concert. Just the way that Nesta came out in the beginning, sitting on a chair and paying homage to all the old people, the people who have built the culture on the music, that in itself shows that it was meant to be a fete suit. So to me, at the end of the day, as Rome was saying in the Clubhouse chat, people really and truly didn't even know if to get up and wave and whatnot. And Roman and Penny had to come out and say, okay, well, you guys can, you can get up and dance in your spot, but, just keep the COVID protocols. We don't want you guys strain out and whatever. And even in the same chat, when you guys were saying that when the show was done and he was leaving, there were ushers saying, okay, well, you have to wait so these people could go out first. So that's what I say. And the point I want to make, just to bring closure to this issue and move on to the final question quickly, is that at the end of the day, we have to protect our culture, but we can't just take the narrative from a 5-second clip that you see on social media, right? Not because somebody put up a clip, and I had a picture here to show, but I'm not going to bother to show it again, where somebody put up a photo seeing hands in the air, and they're saying, you see, well, all that madness going on. But that person taking a perception from a clip that is this big in front of the eyes, not taking into consideration that the hall can hold 1,000 people, and only probably like 100 people were there, spaced out and staggered. If it is that we really are, and I just saw Fear put up that comment saying that we take our culture for granted because patriotism isn't part of our socialization, and that's a real powerful comment.
That is real, because all right, for instance, you go Jamaica, the first thing you're seeing, Jamaica flag, Jamaica this, jerk chicken this, that, all these different things happening, right? And you almost know that these people are passionate about who they are and where they're from. You're seeing everything. You must see Jamaican colors somewhere, right? Trinidad is not like that.
No.
Trinidad is definitely not like that. Like there's a lack of patriotism, as she said. People just is like, we're from Trinidad and we cool.
We cool, yeah.
We don't really own it now. We don't really own, I am a Trinidadian, I am proud.
Yeah.
And that is why I would sing songs like Dear Promoter, just to bring back that sense of unity and to show that, we are one of a kind, This Twin Island is one of a kind.
Yeah, for real. I want to get to the last question for you tonight before we wrap up. Because I know we a little bit over time, and again to the 2 questions I had from before, or I seen 3 questions from before, because I actually have a director. So the director sent me the questions. So I have the questions in my chat, so I get to the questions quickly. But I want to ask the final question before we go to those questions and wrap up for the night. One of the biggest issues for me, as somebody who has a platform, is always being able to identify the things that connect with you on a particular level. Because I think, again, especially as somebody in entertainment, people gonna just feel like, well, voice just always glad and always happy and nothing is really bother here, and them fellas don't take no serious sign to any issues now, right? 2020, we had a barrage of things that happened, from global pandemic, racial instability taking place in different parts of the world. In Trinidad and Tobago, we had elections, the US had elections. All these things are intertwined in a social media bubble, as well as TV and everything. And of course, we had that issue of young girls being kidnapped across the country or whatever. Is there one particular issue that happened in 2020 that for you was like really, really, it really hit you in a different way? And it was something that you actually had to sit down and think about, absorb. It affected you emotionally. And you probably thought to yourself going forward that this is something that you want to actually now use your platform to actually help improve in any particular way?
The rise in racism, for sure. Definitely.
Right.
For me, like when I started seeing those comments, and in my mind, it's like, firstly, how does one think something like that, right? That's just to begin with. What could trigger you to think that way?
Right.
And then what would inspire you to even say it or come on social media and type certain things? Is like you for real, Jed? Like, what have I done to you? What have I done to you that you don't like me? And that's something that I've all like. It real. To be honest, it irritated me a lot. To the fact where I felt like I had to sing about it. I wanted to even put it in song, and because I felt like that's why I do this. This is what I do, and this is my way of saying I don't like this. I don't condone this. I hate it, right? And when it started, obviously not just in Trinidad, but from outside.
Right.
And outside is definitely, I don't like it anyway, but outside is one thing, right?
Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah.
But when I started seeing it hitting home, it's like, yo, why we as a people, we supposed to be this melting pot. We supposed to be one. Everybody's come together. When it's a football match, people coming together. When it's cricket, everybody coming together. Everybody has won. And then why? Because of elections or whatever, we find the need to disassociate ourselves from different races. Like it's just so uncalled for. Is like when I started seeing those comments, I telling you, real. I get real hungry. I get real. I was really, really upset.
Right.
And not just the people who say it, but us in general as a people. And the thing is, I personally believe this is something learned. Like you can't just grow up in a world and say, hey, I don't like this person.
Because of the race or whatever, yeah.
I don't like this race. This is something that is learned, and I keep trying to understand, why are we teaching the younger ones? Why are we teaching them to be racist? What is the reason for it? Where does it stem from? Like it triggered that whole scenario triggered me. Apart from the whole violence against women as well, that also just triggered me, because I grew in a household, 2 sisters. I have my mom, and just me and my dad, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I have a genuine love. I and I'm the youngest, right? So I'm like the baby. I am the baby, and I have a lot of love from them. So when I also saw a lot of things happening with violence against women and this kind of things, it hurt me, and it touched me in a different place. And so I would say between that and racism, that really took me to a sad place. A really sad place.
Yeah. Do you think that, given all that has happened, that these are 2 things that you want to champion a call to make a difference within the next couple of months, or not even the next couple of months? Because I don't want to treat it like as a part-time thing. But given the fact that it's affecting you on such a visceral level, is this something that you think going forward? And I'm sure you're going to find a way to do it, that you want to use your platform to be able to impact in a certain way.
Most definitely. Most definitely. I actually leading out of last year, because of situations that we saw happening and whatnot, and including the pandemic, of course, we formed, and I didn't even announce it on my page. So this is the first place announcing it.
On the collective. So again, exclusive. On the collective. So again, exclusive. Right.
It's official. I now have a registered NGO, the Far From Finished Foundation, and we are going to be dealing with all those issues starting from Sawa, my community, and spreading straight across Trinidad and Tobago and across the region as well, dealing with different domestic issues, financial problems, instability people may be facing, violence, you name it, racism, all those things we will be dealing with and touching on. Whether it means we give back in certain areas, whether it means we have programs and shows and different things to aid or help these causes. That's the main focus for 2021. And that's the manifestation right there. We're working towards that and working towards helping Trinidad and Tobago, helping the culture.
Yeah, that's powerful. That is real powerful. When is it that you guys are gonna start to mobilize publicly? Because I'm seeing people now in the chat like they're really interested in hearing about this now. So when is it that you guys foresee mobilization to get more people involved in this initiative?
Well, as close as next week, as next week we will probably launch on my page, and then we would launch its individual social media platforms. We do IG, Twitter, everything for the Far From Finished Foundation. And but some close people know, and they have already started donating laptops. We have a bunch of laptops together. All those things we will be announcing next week, right? So they just information that I just given you as we on here one time, you know what I mean? Right. But we more than likely will be making the announcement next week.
Right. So you guys heard it here, first exclusive on the Kreative Kollective, and it's important. And listen, even if I saw somebody posting the idea that it takes nothing to share or to follow a guy's business, I think that it takes nothing actually to contribute to this initiative, because it's important and there's the kind of energy that we need in Trinidad and Tobago right now. I know for a fact that even when you post this, I'm just going to repost it and let people know about it. And it's not because I gain anything about it from it, but because I think that the country needs to gain from it. I think that we as a nation, as a collective people, need to gain from this kind of energy. And that I think is one of the most important things that we've learned in this conversation, that I think everybody should take note of, right? We'll just get to 3 questions quickly and then wrap up. Right? So 3, because I want to shout out Mark, who had literally bad me up in the chat, and it's like, yeah, but I asked a question. I asked Mark question, so Mark question came out. But I want to get to the 3 questions quickly. So I'm seeing here, how do you stay so humble? Because it seems like fame has never gone to your head. That's a real interesting question. I actually like that question.
The people around me, they would never allow me to be a diva, as you would see. It's just, as I said previously, it's just good vibes, good energy. It's never like I am voice and I am on this pedestal and everybody else around me is not. It's never that. It's never been that. And even growing up, it's like, why have us all on too? You know what I mean? This is not just for me. This is, as I say in dance now, it is an empire we building. So, you know what I mean? So what I have is yours, and we could all benefit from it if we all on the same path. If we all working towards the same goal, we could all. So there's no star. I don't see myself as a star in especially in my circle. So that I think that in itself keeps me humble, keeps me grounded. Yeah.
Right. That and so you see, dancing away is not just about a girl, but as I tell you, it's about unselfish. I tell you, I see the message and she's like, so who's the girl? Oh gosh, Ole, come on, come on now. You know, and somebody messaged me today in my DM, and it's like, yeah, so you need to ask the question of if it's have a miss voice here. I'm not going to ask the question. If voice decides to give that information, you will give it, but I'm not going to ask the question. Second question quickly. As a soca artist known for such a rich, melodious voice, do you follow a regimen to maintain your voice, especially during the hectic carnival season?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I actually have vocal training twice a week. So Mondays, Wednesdays, big up to Vanessa for Academy. But yeah, I do vocal training most of the time, just to, being able to sing with the right technique, being able to sing for long, because I mean, soca, like I did, there was a point in time where my voice just gave out on me during a carnival season. And I felt like I was going by doctors and they was telling me the same thing over and over. So I flew out to Miami to see, what's different now. And I remember the guy in Miami telling me, he was like, so when is the next show? I was like, weekend. He was like, how much shows do you have? I was like, he asked when the next show. I was like, Friday. He's like, how much do you have? I was like, 5. He was like,
Five.
He was like, wait a minute, like 5 shows for the weekend? I was like, no, 5.
No, 5 shows on Friday.
He was like, what? Are you crazy? Like, and that is the thing people don't understand. And it's like all these things need to be said on a platform where the public and not just people in the industry could view. Because what we are doing with our bodies and our voices and our God-given talent is definitely not what you are supposed to be doing. The max you are supposed to be singing per night is an hour to 2 hours. That's the max. The human body is not supposed to be singing for more than that. And there are nights we would go 8 shows, 9 shows, and just sing. And then when you come with the next sweat and your voice gone, it's, oh God, you have no voice.
Where what the man to do, boy? Oh God, boy, come on, boy.
Sing. And we go through that and we grind it out for 2-3 months for the sake of the people, for the sake of the culture, you know what I mean? And yeah, so I definitely is for carnival time, as much as possible, stay away from spicy foods, eat a lot of ginger, warm tea and that kind of thing. Yeah, you name it, the works. African sea coconut, all those things, just to maintain the voice, because I mean, it's a lot is happening at that period of time with the voice, and I mean, it's an instrument.
It's an instrument.
Like every other thing, but just you can't find this in a store. You can't find this in the bamboo, you know what I mean? So you
can't go in the bamboo and get use voice by the corner in the bamboo. Oh, yeah, use voice there.
Yeah. So definitely a lot takes place, especially around carnival time. Right. But you see, for me, no carnival happening, but I still want to maintain, the voice, you know what I mean? So I still have vocal training going on.
Correct. All right, last 3 questions. How did you come up with the name Voice?
Lyndon actually came up with the name Voice.
Right.
Lyndon, because I remember back in, this would have been probably in 2009. I was looking for a name. I was looking for a sobriquet to go by, right? Because we were going to enter this competition. I think it was a reggae competition.
You didn't want to call yourself Alien.
No, well, this is before Alien. This is way before.
I know, but you still didn't want to call yourself Alien. Right.
And I just find Aaron St. Louis. I know a lot of artists use the actual name, but I just wasn't feeling Aaron St. Louis.
Yeah.
So I told myself, we're going on. Lyndon, we need a name, right? And so I messaged Lyndon, and he was like, all right, I'll come up with a name. And then he came up with Voice. I was like, what's the reason behind Voice? And he was like, yo, and your real name is Aaron? I was like, yeah. And then he explained to me that in the Bible, God chose Moses to lead the people out of Egypt. And Moses felt like he wasn't eloquent enough. So he called on his brother Aaron to be the voice of the people, to be the voice. And that's when the whole thing tied in, because at that point in time, I was doing a lot of positive music, and he felt like I could have been the voice of the people. I could have been the voice of inspiration. And that is where the voice came from.
Damn, that is deep. So you see, he didn't come up with no name of, like, in his saying, we call it Voice, and it's like, no.
Because of my actual voice.
Somebody messaged me in Instagram, is like, you sure it's not because no, dog, no. That's not it. No. All right, last 2. Have you ever had an embarrassing or unfortunate experience moment at a performance?
Embarrassing, boy? There were cases where I slipped and I almost fall down.
Right.
It's Vincent self by audio.
Of course. It's always obvious.
I run on for H2O. I think it was 2 years ago.
Wet fet?
It was a wet fet.
The biggest fet for Carnival at St. Vincent.
And I run on stage and your boy make a big slip. But the good thing is that the fog was blowing so much that I don't think anybody said, right? There was also a time, and honestly, I swear, I thought this was going to go viral. From the time I come on stage, I was like, boy, this going on Facebook, this going on IG. By tomorrow, everybody will see Voice fall, right? Here we go on now. So this is Uber Soca Cruise.
Oh, good. You start off bad already.
Uber Soca Cruise 2018. It wasn't last year, it was the year before. And I sing in here for love, and I have my mic here, so and I say, all bad mind people fire. And the crowd going, and I had them. So I confident now. And I jump, right? And as I jump, so yeah, I jump straight off the stage. Dog. But what made it normal is that I jumped straight off now. It wasn't like my foot click and I fall and I topple over. It was like voice here and then
voice down there.
So it didn't really look like a fall. It looked like I jumped.
Party performance, right.
People thought I jumped off the stage, but then the people to the front were like, "Whoa!" Like they made a noise. Now I was like, "Wait, this gonna go viral." And I went back up on stage. Now I climbed back, but when I jumped down, now I make it look like a planter. So I started jump up on it. I started jump on wave now, and when I climbed back up, I was like, "Yeah, I play. All you know me, I'm from South. I go because."
Oh my God!
I say I'm from South. I'm from Trinity, and I swear. And what make it worse, Julian Promos posted a video on IG, and I say, "Well, boy, that is it because Julian posted and Julian have a following."
Yeah.
And nobody comment. One person comment and sent my DJ. I was like, "Wait, that voice falling." I tell Aaron to say,
Aaron must be catching Joe's over. Aaron must be killing himself like, you see, brother, you see what's going on?
I say, yo, tell that man that was planned. Just so that it wouldn't spread now. But I think that video is still on Julian's page.
Yeah.
Swear.
Well, I see Shandy in the chat, so I'm gonna actually message Shandy after the find out. I ain't gonna put you up, but everybody here, all they gonna look fit. All they gonna look fit. I don't go and share it, but everybody in the live can look fit. Because all they know the story now, so they can go and look fit. You understand?
No shame, please.
As I say, Shandy, she wants to know which I will say you're one of the first guys that had a virtual concert at the point in time, a virtual concert from the backyard, which was lit at the point. Will there be another virtual concert, or are you waiting to see what is the climate right now, especially coming out from Sunday? Me personally, go for it, do your thing, because I think it's needed right now. And I really want everybody out there, some fighting Nastan. Oh gosh. But at the same point in time, will there be another virtual concert?
I would say yes, and I would say no.
Right.
The reason I would say yes and no is because I like to overdo it a little bit, right? So it's a little
at least you see it.
it's a little more than just a concert, and that's all I would leave it as.
Right.
Stay tuned. It's gonna be something for the culture. It's gonna be something definitely for the culture, and I doing it. I giving it everything in me for this one, and I just want when it's finished and when it's done and when it's packaged and ready to go, I want everybody to feel like, yeah, boy, this is not Voice, not Voice the brand. Soca on the whole, I want them to be like, yeah, boy, I am proud to be a part of this time. I'm proud to be a part of now. Because what we are going to do, we are going to try our best to showcase soca music on a different level.
Right.
And that is the main focus right now.
Right.
So we're gonna do something a bit different. And yeah, stay tuned.
And I go and get the last question to we boy selector Kerry, who wants to know when the bomb dropping. Kerry wants to know when the bomb dropping. When
I sing a tune in a live, and Kerry, when he asked me when I jump in. Kerry, I will give you the tune to boss this week, right? Selector Kerry, I'm giving you the song to premiere on Boom, wherever you could do your thing, right? So this week for sure.
All right. So we get that. So the bomb dropping. And I have one question to ask quickly before we go. Do you subscribe to Cranium's thoughts about rapid response?
Fire.
So you believe in hold on. So you believe in rapid response too?
No, fire for Cranium, boy. Fire for I tell him that, Fireboy. I say, soldier, you're gonna have problems down here. When you reach the guy with that rapid response thing, you end up in problems. Don't do really not going through that.
No, the women are not going through the rapid response. What is rapid response? That's police passing on the road. That is not no.
But they love him still because he really. So you will see how it goes when you reach.
True. That's true. That's true. Well, but boy, listen. I want to first of all say thank you for the time tonight. I really appreciate it. I think even with this entire conversation, a lot of people here did not know how you got the name Voice, right? And just to be able to understand the biblical developments and just to understand how that came into being is actually one of the most powerful things we leave this discussion with. I tell people back in the old days, and I read this somewhere, when the Romans used to have their children, they used to look at the son and come up with a name, and the name supposed to signify what that individual is going to be for the rest of their life and how to go and touch the world. So if you name your child whatever, and in that language it meant that this person was going to be king, it means that they see you being a king now. So by the fact that your name is not just because it could sing, but because you are definitely a voice of people, it means that you now really have that mantle of being able to carry the voice of a generation. And I remember looking at an earlier interview that you had, and I was watching that last night, where you were saying that when you came out with Alien, as they say, the old people or the older generation really couldn't connect with it. And you were thinking to yourself that you wanted to release music now that would connect the generations. It means that that gives your name, the title and what you have your sobriquet now, more weight, because now that is what you are doing. You are now connecting generations, both young and old, and you're representing Trinidad and Tobago in a particular way at a time where we need that right now. I mean, we could take this as something in between it. Nothing wrong with that. But at the same point in time, we need individuals to not just defend the culture on the musical realm, but we need them people that can defend it with a thought process of how it is that we're going to systematically build it together and what it is that we could do to keep the culture running. Just by the fact that you have the idea for your concert, as they say, I like to overdo, but in your mind, you're not going to do this until we could do it in a particular way that is safe in protocols. By the same point in time, speaks to the country and the culture that we are at, means that your name is indicative of who you are as a person. That actually is the most mind-blowing thing I've heard for you tonight, and I think is the most mind-blowing thing everybody else has heard for you tonight. So I really want to thank you for your time tonight on joining us on the premiere of the Creative Collective, brother. Everybody here who tuned in, I'm sure you guys learned a lot. I don't know if you have anything you want to say to everybody before we leave, or
just blessings to everybody for the love and support. Continue supporting soca music, continue supporting the culture. This is who we are. This is who we are as a people, and not because of the times that we're going through right now. We must let that part of us be stripped away. You know what I mean? We are to defend soca music, that we defend the culture, and Thursday's bacchanal.
Yes. So Vibes and Voices back tomorrow.
Yeah. Thursday.
Well, yes, because it's Tuesday. I keep thinking it's Wednesday. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on with me. Well, yeah. So, guys, you heard it. He's going to be back on Thursday for Vibes and Voicey, right? If Cranium passed through, I'm really going to burn him out for this rapid response thing, because I can't get that out of my mind to this day. I really can't get out of my mind to this day. But at the same point in time, Voicey, thank you for your time. Damn, I think he dropped. All right. Okay, I think it is that his internet dropped and we lost him. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you guys for the time tonight inside the launch of the Creative Collective Podcast Season 2. Just want to shout out, going out to the House of CAT crew, Gleason, Chacha as well. Thank you guys so much for the assistance to get things up and running for this season. Just to let you guys know, as a public service announcement, that next week, Tuesday, we're going to be back for another episode of the Creative Collective Podcast. I'm going to have Rome, the artist, in the conversation then, and we're really going to talk about not just artists and music, but Rome of himself. He identified himself as the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Promoters Association. And we really want to get into a conversation about the virtual space and what is the future for events I should say the present for events right now, given COVID-19. So we're going to talk about events, we're going to talk about the culture, we're going to talk about music, and all that is happening next week, Tuesday at 8 p.m. Also want to let you guys know that very soon we're going to be starting something on Clubhouse called Collective Conversations. It's going to be basically spin-off to this, but where we want to get you guys involved. So if you are on Clubhouse, follow me at Shomari KRL, and we're hoping to start that next week, Wednesday, just for our where it is that we'll go over some of the things that we discuss in the lives and have you guys chiming in the conversation. So the Collective Conversations is coming very, very soon to Clubhouse. Make sure and look out for that as well. Guys, I'd like you all as well too. Please follow me on Instagram at Shomari KRL, at Facebook at Shomari KRL, and subscribe and like the YouTube channel and put on the notifications so that all the updates, you guys can get it straight to your inbox. Make sure and subscribe to Redymix DMT on YouTube. And of course, like and make sure as well that you put on the notifications so you can get to know what's happening. All right. And finally, thank you to Voice for joining us inside the Creative Collective tonight. And thank you to everybody as well. Everybody, the Zale team. Let me see who we have in the comments as well. Big up to Shayna for the question as well we got tonight. Modesty Blaze, who for whatever reason right now total on Voice because Voice sing that song for a girl. For whatever reason, Guy I see. Carrie, Brian, Trisha, everybody who tuned into live tonight, Afia, Engel, and the whole crew, Shandy, everybody. I thank you guys so much for tuning into the launch tonight. All right. So remember, next week, Tuesday, we are back with another episode, 8 p.m., the Creative Collective Podcast. Wednesday, Collective Conversations on Clubhouse. And big up my Groove Theory one-on-one team because we're going to be returning with the Groove Theory one-on-one very soon. All right. So I'm Shomari KRL. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the launch of season two of the Creative Collective Podcast. See you guys next week.